السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, just wanted to take a couple of minutes to share with you guys what's going on this weekend. This weekend we'll be in Batista, Georgia. I'm Maryland, Batista, Maryland. Myself along with that Clay couple. And we will be hosting a one-day marriage retreat. Friday will be for the singles, and Saturday will be for the couples. Friday night, inshallah ta'ala, we will be doing some workshops for unmarried people. My workshop, particularly for the unmarried, is called Marriage Readiness for the Unmarried. Marriage Readiness for the Unmarried. And what we will be concentrating on is, number one, baggage. As you guys, if you've been following me on Instagram, following me on other places, then you know that my concentration for the past couple of weeks has been on baggage. Baggage, as I said before, it is negative, unprocessed emotions from past experiences that affect our current experience. No, inshallah, we'll come back to Georgia. Maybe in December, inshallah, we'll come back to Georgia. But right now, we'll be in Maryland, Batista, Maryland, inshallah, and that will be Friday. I will be giving the Jumu'ah khutbah at Irhasa, Islamic Research and Humanitarian Center in Maryland. I will be giving the khutbah there Friday, and then we will head over to Batista, Maryland for the beginning of our event. So Friday night will be only for the singles. Friday night will be for the singles, and my workshop will consist of dealing with baggage. A lot of brothers and sisters go into marriage with, baggage, negative, unprocessed emotions from past experiences that affect your current experience. We want to help brothers and sisters process that, because baggage creates reservations. All right. If you have, for example, if you were in a previous marriage or previous relationship, and that previous relationship heighten some insecurities that you have for a woman, heighten some insecurities that you have. Those insecurities create reservations. So then you go into your marriage, believing that maybe the person doesn't really love you, the person is only with you for superficial reasons, that the person doesn't believe that you're beautiful, the person doesn't believe that you have worth, and these are all going on in your mind. This is not even what the person believes. This is all what is going on in your mind. The reservations that have been created because of the baggage that you have not processed. All right? We go into the marriage believing we have reservations, believing that, we become pessimistic. We've become pessimistic because of previous relationship failures, right? We become pessimistic. And we believe that marriage doesn't really work. But I know that, the only way that I could have halal sex is through marriage. So I go into marriage anyway. But I don't go into marriage for the marriage, right? There's a quote, I believe, by Mae West that says, marriage isn't a great institution, but I don't necessarily want the institution, right? Marriage is a great institution, but I don't necessarily want the institution, right? I just want the fluff of the marriage. I don't want to get into all of the emotional responsibilities. I don't want to get into all of, I don't want to get into all of that. I just want what I want from that person. I want sexual relations. I want, somebody to talk to. I want to help mate. Right? I want somebody to help me with, whatever goals I got in my personal life, and I'm going to use this person to do that. That's what I want from the marriage. I don't really want the whole marital experience. You understand? I don't want the whole marital experience. And that's as a result of pessimism. We've been in past, failed relationships, and we tend to think that, relations, and I don't even believe, I have no faith in the whole marital system. I have no faith in it. I don't believe in marriage. But some of us as Muslims right now, the only reason why we get married is because we are obligated to get married. Other than that, we wouldn't even try. We wouldn't even have taken a shot at, getting married. Right? No commitment, no responsibility, no obligation, no real attachment. We don't want the whole marital experience. We just want what we need from it, and we're going to use you to do it. Right? You got to be the mark. You the victim. Unfortunately, unfortunately, and that's pretty much how it works, man. So the negative baggage, man, we all have it. We all have it, and we have to unpack these bags. So my workshop will focus specifically on unpacking your bag. That is the first section of my workshop. Unpacking your bags. Going to identify what baggage is. Going to have, brothers and sisters identify some of their baggage. And then we're going to talk about ways in which you can get rid of your baggage. Ways to get rid of your baggage. We don't want to stay and go, take, our baggage with us from one situation to, one situation to another situation. All right, so that's the first thing that we'll focus on, getting rid of emotional baggage. The second thing is marriage readiness. 10 ways to know that you are not ready for marriage. What I want to do with the unmarried brothers and sisters is to get them to be honest with themselves. Some of us are not ready for marriage, period. We just don't want to be honest with ourselves. We let other people decide or other people figure out for us that we're not ready for marriage. Why does somebody else have to figure out for you that you're not ready for marriage by you ruining their lives? Why does somebody else have to figure out for you that you are not ready for marriage because you've ruined their lives? You had a negative experience with this person. You was married. You was in this, relationship with this person for, a year, 2 years, 3 years. And the person comes to the realization man, why did you even marry me? Why did you marry me, man? You wasn't ready for marriage. You're still communicating with your ex-spouse. You're still communicating with your ex, boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's a man or a woman, you're still communicating with them. Why did you bring me into your life? Why did you do that? You still had attachments to somebody else. We go into relationships and we don't cut off our loose ends. That's one of the telltale signs that you're not ready for marriage. We leave loose ends, right? That woman that we was talking to before we got married, and then we still talking to her after marriage. And then it's like, well, why are you still talking to her? Well, we were friends before. Well, okay, well, you knew you were getting married, right? You knew you were getting married. You understand? You were still, and then we do it under the guise of, well, that's the father of my child. That's my baby father. That's the father of my children. Yeah, but the context of your conversation is beyond a co-parent conversation. You talking to your ex-husband has now become your best friend. Your ex-husband has now become your best friend. So when did you and your ex-husband become besties? Now you telling him all of the stuff that's going on in your relationship with your husband as if your ex-husband is going to help you fix your marriage? How sick is that? Your ex-husband is going to help you fix your marriage. MashaAllah. So your ex-husband has now become a marital counselor for you. MashaAllah. Because you don't have anybody else to talk to. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. So, my ex-spouse has now become, my marital counselor, and I'm just getting some advice from him. MashaAllah. So how do you think your current husband is going to view that? How do you think that your current husband is going to view you communicating with your ex-husband about him? So basically what happens is that you are still in an emotional relationship. It's an emotional relationship. It's an emotional relationship. You may not physically be, involved in a relationship with him, but you are definitely in an emotional relationship, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So we need to come to terms with the fact that many of us are just not ready for marriage. We're not ready for marriage. And so part of my workshop with the unmarried people will be 10 ways for you to know that you are not ready for marriage. Let's stop ruining other people's lives because we fail to be honest with ourselves. Be honest with yourself and say, you know what? I'm just not ready for marriage. I'm not ready for a commitment. I'm not ready to be in the whole institution, right, of marriage. I'm not ready for that right now. But you do have sexual urges. You do have needs, as they say. You do have needs. And with all due respect to your needs, marriage is a place, not necessarily a place where you get your needs met. Marriage is a place where you meet other people's needs. Because your needs are already met. You understand? That's pretty much how it works. Marriage is a very selfless, place to be. If you are selfish, you are not ready for marriage. If you go into a marriage and it's all about what you need from that person or from that relationship, then you are not ready for marriage. Marriage is not a place where you go to get your needs met, or financially, for that matter. Marriage is not a place where you go to get your needs met. Marriage is a place where you go to meet your spouse's needs. As much as you have the ability, obviously, because your needs are met. I've already met my own needs. I don't need you to, validate me emotionally. I can do that myself. I don't need you to, take care of me financially. I can do that myself. I don't need you. And then what happens is when you have met most of your needs, 80% of your needs are met by you, then you take that type of pressure off of the shoulders of your spouse, and they can just simply be your husband or your wife without an added or an additional pressure put on you that you could have taken care of yourself. You follow me? You make your life, the life of your spouse so much more easy. You make the life of your spouse so much more easy, right? Come whole. Not necessarily whole, but, you can meet your own needs. You can get your needs met. Not a problem. I'm not using you to meet my needs. I can satisfy my own needs. I may not be whole, but I'm not using you to satisfy my needs. You have some people who go into a marriage and their spouse becomes their counselor. I'm not your counselor. I am not your counselor. I didn't marry you to become your counselor. My marriage with you does not represent a couch that you just lay down and you just lay down and you get you're going to get a diagnosis, and I'm going to satisfy all of your hurt, and I'm going to fix you. That's not what our relationship is. That's not a marriage. That's a client, a professional client relationship. You know what I mean? Find your way to get your needs met. Meet your own needs ahead of time, so that way when you go into a marriage, you can help your spouse meet their needs, as much as you can, because yours are already met. But if you go into the marriage needy, I need this from you, I need that from you, I need this from you. One of the things is that, like, when you go into, for example, when you have a premarital sit down, right? When you have a sit down with someone, stay under 70. When you go into your marriage, and when you have a sit down, right? This is what I want you guys to ask the person. Ask the person sitting across the table, what do you want from a marriage? What are you looking for from a marriage? If the person's response is all about what they need from the other person, from the marriage, rather than what they can offer to the marriage, then know that you are going into a marriage with someone who is going to drain you. And the thing about it is that the person, when they tell you what they need from the relationship, from you or from the relationship, it might be unrealistic. It's like, you need that from a marriage? That's what you expecting from me? It's unrealistic. People don't even function like that. What do you mean? I need to be treated like the king, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, where they do that at? I gotta come in treating you like you the king? Rather than saying, I require this or I require that, it's important for us to know the difference between somebody that's coming in that is going to drain you versus somebody who is going to come in and add value to your life. And vice versa. We shouldn't be sitting across the table at a premarital counseling session, sitting across from a person and trying to figure out what we can get from that person. Let's start talking about what we can add. Like, how can you be an asset to my life? It's like when you go to a job interview, right? The job interview. The guy that's interviewing, the girl that's interviewing you says to you, well, what can you bring to this company? What can you bring to this company? When you're going to a job interview, you're not asking the one that is the interview you, right? You're not asking the interviewer what they can offer you. You're telling the interviewer what you can offer them to make their company better, to make their, business better. Because you see value in yourself. It's the same thing when you're going into premarital counseling. I'm telling you what I can bring into your relationship. But in the Muslim community, we do the total opposite. We say, okay, so brother, so what you bringing to the table, brother? It's like, what do you mean, what am I bringing to the table? What do you mean, what am I bringing to the table? I'm not coming here to discuss with you what I am bringing to the table. Because that's a neediness. Basically, you're going to sift through whatever I say to decide whether or not this relationship is going to work. And that's very superficial. That's a very superficial way to determine whether or not this person or that person is good for you in marriage. Let me tell you how much of an asset I can be to your life by telling you how great my life is. So tell me about yourself. Tell me about your life. Do you love your life? How do you feel about life? Where are you at in your life right now? What defines you in your life? And how does that, how does somebody walking into your life, benefit from, all of the sacrifices that you've made to make your life so great? What am I walking into? Stop with the whole, okay, so what are you bringing to the table? So financially, what are you doing this? Because it's not about that. Unless that's what you want. But nonetheless, these are the things that we are going to be focusing on the workshop. So for those of you who are in the Philadelphia, Delaware, South Jersey, North Jersey, DC, Maryland area, Virginia area, come out this Friday. I promise you, this is a workshop you don't want to miss. And then, of course, we have that clay couple. I'm not totally sure what their workshop is going to be about, but I'm pretty sure that it is along the same lines. So if you haven't purchased your tickets, you can pay at the door. But if you haven't purchased your tickets, you can go to that clay couple. You can go to their Instagram page. You can go to their Facebook page to purchase your tickets. You can send me an email, inshallah, and then I can refer you to them as they are handling all of that. And for those of you who are married, who need to, revitalize your marriage, and need to renew your marriage, renew the spirit of your marriage, come out. These marital workshops are not just for people who have failing marriages. It's energy in the room. There's energy going to a workshop with you and your spouse, going to a workshop, a marital workshop, and learning some new tips on how to make your marriage a little better. This does not mean because you go to a marital workshop that you don't have marriage figured out. That's not what this is about. Or I'm not going there because people, when they see me there, they're going to think I have problems in my marriage. That's not what going to a marital workshop is about. It's almost like we look at workshops of this magnitude like we look at going to counseling. We automatically assume that by going, that people get the impression that we are somehow failures at marriage. Going to a workshop, I mean, and that's because when you're functioning, with people that have low social skills, they tend to interpret everything based upon their own insecurity. When people are poor, when people don't have much or whatever the case, I don't want to take this because I don't want people to think I'm poor. Well, God damn it, you're poor. I don't want to take that because I don't want people to think I ain't going to sign up for welfare because I don't want people to think that I'm this. Well, you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to go to counseling because I don't want people to think that, I don't have my marriage figured out. Well, you don't. None of us do. Which is why we go to workshops and we gain new information. We gain tips on how to perfect our marital experience. We learn information. And that's because we're dealing with people, majority of the people that we are dealing with and servicing in our communities. It's not just necessarily a black and brown community. It's social economic status. It's people of a social economic status. It has nothing to do with necessarily color. Because middle-class African Americans do spend money to go to universities and colleges. They do go to plays. They do, go to workshops. They do spend money for marriage counseling and things like that. We're not talking about color. We're talking about social economic status. And much of whom we service in the African American community are people of a lower social and economic status. That's just all day facts. That is who we service. That is who majority of us, this is who we are servicing. So we get, low attendance when we do workshops, marital workshops, or workshops related to, children, and abstinence. You have Dr. Shakira, you have Sister Jessica, you have so many other people out here doing workshops and doing great work to try to educate. And these are educated people. These are not your run-of-the-mill, Maryam and Khadijah and Muhammad, and Abdullah and Muhammad. These are educated, professionals at what they do. And, what happens is, because this is the level, the socioeconomic status of majority of the people that we are servicing, we get this type of lack of attendance, lack of concern. And, it's like where the redundancy of our message it gets played out over time, because it's like we keep saying the same thing over and over. And when the impact of the words, the impact of the workshops, the impact of the lectures, it's not as effective. Not necessarily because the information is not effective or it's not good, sound information. It's because of the socioeconomic status of the people that you are servicing. We're dealing with people who don't read. Many of the brothers and sisters don't read. They don't read. I can put out a post and I can say, lecture starts at 12 p.m. and somebody will put right underneath that post, Brother Iman, what time does it start? We don't read. We don't read. That's problem number one. And I'm always amazed when people say, well, what's the dalil on that? Dude, if I gave you the dalil, you still wouldn't understand it. If I told you, gave you the references, gave you the books to go back and research it yourself, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. So why waste my time asking me for dalil? When people do that, I don't even respond, period. What's the dalil on that? Man, go kick rocks, man. I'm not giving you no dalil for nothing. And then when I don't well, he's giving information and he didn't provide any dalil. If I gave you the dalil, you still wouldn't understand it. If I gave you the evidence, you still wouldn't understand it. There has to be a basic level of education, basic, social skills. You know what I mean? Basic social skills in order for us to be able to interact in a healthy way. In the Muslim community, many of our social interactions are unhealthy because we are socially awkward. Socially awkward. We don't understand that a person disagreeing with you doesn't mean that you have to treat them like an enemy. I don't have to agree with you in order to be your brother in Islam. I could tell you all day long, you are talking off the wall. I don't agree with a word that is coming out of your mouth. I still love you for the sake of Allah. You're still my brother in Islam. I still love you. I just don't agree with you. But we take it as, when you don't agree with me, oh, you're my enemy. You're somehow trying to slight my intellect. You're somehow trying to, degrade me or belittle me. Oh, that's belittling. Because I disagree with you? That's belittling? Oh, he's disrespecting the scholars because I disagree with them? Because that's a low social skill. People have low social skills. And wherever you find low social skills, you find a lack of, economic stability as well. I'm just stating facts, man. I'm just stating the facts. So when we have these type of events, we have such low turnouts, because of this, and I mean, we got to keep it pushing, man. Like, we got to keep doing it. And hopefully people will start to get around to. A sister asked me on Instagram yesterday, she was like, where do you hold your classes? I'm like, I don't do classes. Graduated beyond doing classes. I don't do classes. I didn't graduate from the Islamic University 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I've been on the ground giving dawah since 2003. It is now 2018. If I'm still sitting in the masjid in front of a chair giving classes on a day-to-day basis, then what progress have I made? You know what I mean? That's for someone who just graduated, who is just now touching the ground and, putting in their work. They're starting from the bottom and putting that work in. I am not that person. Don't box me in with, the rest of the students of knowledge. Don't put me in no box. I don't belong there. That's not my bag. I don't do that. I give workshops. I give lectures periodically, discussions. You know what I mean? Like, we change the language a little bit. I have courses. I run courses, right? Which my marital course, How to Get Married and Divorced in 10 weeks, inshallah, we will be running that course again in September, inshallah ta'ala. I'll keep everyone posted, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. All right, so that's this Friday, and Batista, Georgia. Why I keep saying Georgia, man? But right, it's a city in Georgia.
Sounds like it.
Batista, Maryland, inshallah, this Friday, inshallah, and then for the singles, and also for those of you who are looking to get married, and more so brothers, because we always have a huge turnout with sisters. Always have a huge turnout with sisters. If you are brothers, if you are looking to get married, please come out. Please come out. Let us find someone for you. Let us facilitate that situation for you so that you can be happily married amongst the millions of happily married Muslims around the world, and enjoy the institution of marriage. If you want to get married, come out to this event. I can guarantee you that you will possibly find someone. And when we did the event in Atlanta a couple of months ago, we did the same event in Atlanta. We had about 27 sisters. 27 sisters and about 5 brothers. 5 brothers showed up. I mean, it's Meanwhile, we got a ton of brothers around here, a ton of brothers in the community that are not married. Sister asked me on Sunday at the event in Montclair, she said, Brother Shadid, why don't the brothers want to get married? Why don't the brothers want to get married? I don't understand. And I said it's simple mathematics. It's not rocket science. Simple mathematics. If a brother is not financially stable, which many brothers are not, financially stable to get married, meaning they can escape, the scrutiny of a woman who is looking for financial stability. If he is not financially stable, he's not going to put himself in a situation where a woman can mock him, a woman can make fun of him, a woman can scrutinize his finances coming in. No man just, if he's not financially stable, want his wife looking all into his finances, right? And also, many brothers are just selfish. They're selfish. They can't fathom spending their hard-earned money on somebody else. Please. They're selfish. Spending their hard-earned money on somebody else. As I said before, marriage is a selfless institution. And we have a bunch of selfish brothers and sisters running around looking for somebody else to meet their needs. And every relationship they go into, every marriage they go into, it's all about what the other person can do for them, not what they can do for somebody else. I mean, that's just what it is. So if a brother is, making his money, he's not looking forward to spending that money on somebody else. Right? That's number one. And number two, if he, don't want a woman, kind of just, regulating his interaction with other women, then he much rather just play the field. He much rather just, use social media, kick it with women when he sees them, on a regular basis. And he's okay with that. He's okay with that. He's okay with, just flirting around with the women. He might strike, his target once in a while. Every now and again, he'll get somebody to sleep with him. You know what I mean? But for the most part, he's just, playing around with the women and flirting, and he's okay with that every day. He's okay with flirting with women. He's okay with that. And then, of course, you have the man who has been in previous relationships that he's been hurt and he's become pessimistic about relationships. And he can't fathom going into another relationship because it was so horrible, and he's not going to go into another relationship. So he pathologizes. He says to himself, there's no goods. None of these sisters out here, want to be married. I was in a previous marriage, and these sisters are like this and like that. And then he paints all of the sisters with a broad brush, and that justifies him going out and engaging in a relationship with a non-Muslim woman or a Muslim woman, non-practicing Muslim woman, right? And he believes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala somehow is going to forgive him for that. Yeah. He believes Allah knows his situation, Allah knows his condition, Allah knows, the situation out here with these women, and he pathologizes that all in his mind. And he says to himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive me. So I'll fornicate with this person, I'll fornicate with her, I'll go into a temporary relationship with this one or that one, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows my situation. Guess what? Allah does know your situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does know your situation. Absolutely. Better than you know your situation. And I hope that you have an answer prepared for the questions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask you. Couldn't you have done this? Couldn't you have done that? Couldn't you have done this? How do you answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? As Allah says in the Quran that they will, Allah will ask them, وَمَاذَا أَجَبْتُمُ الْمُرْسَلِينَ? How did you respond to the messengers when I sent them to you? وَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الَّذِينَ أُرْسِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الْمُرْسَلِينَ وَلَنَقُصَّنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ بِالْعِلْمِ. Allah says in the Quran, very clear, beautiful ayat. Allah says, we will ask those whom we sent the messengers to, and we will surely ask the messengers themselves. وَلَنَقُصَّنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ بِالْعِلْمِ. And we will narrate to you your entire story with knowledge. Yeah. Allah knows your whole story, man. Allah knows your story. وَلَنَقُصَّنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ بِالْعِلْمِ. Allah will narrate to you your story with knowledge. Allah knew your situation detail for detail, and Allah is going to question you. So that whole excuse that there's no good brothers out here, no good sisters, Islam, I don't know about the Islamic community, and all of the excuses that Shaitan feeds us that we buy into, believing that that is going to excuse us in front of God, I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy on you. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy upon you, because you are a self-deluded soul. Allah will narrate to you your story with knowledge. You understand? And nothing will be left out. Allah will tell you, didn't this situation happen? Didn't I give you this situation? Didn't I put you in that situation? Didn't I allow you to go into that situation? And you still manage to fornicate and commit adultery? Yeah. So, inshallah ta'ala, for those of you, again, who are interested in attending the event, please, we'll be in Batista, Maryland this Friday and Saturday, inshallah. We have a huge facility, beautiful facility that we rented out. There will be food, free food that comes along with your ticket. So if you purchase a ticket, there will be food, enough, more than enough for everyone. We have a huge facility, and Friday night, inshallah, if you find someone that you are interested in, myself or Brother Hassan or Sister Naila will be there to help facilitate, any sit down, any, immediate interest that you may have to help accommodate that, inshallah ta'ala, and then pass you on to the brother, or pass you on to the sisters Wali, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Hopefully I can see you guys on Friday, bi'ithnillah. For those of you in the Maryland area, inshallah, I'm looking forward to seeing you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No, the Ideal Muslim and Muslimah series is not over. We'll continue on Monday, inshallah. We'll continue next Monday, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.